Meantime, the issue of nuclear power is back again because this government believes that no one in the country thinks this is the option. Well, reality is I can show you poll after poll that show younger voters don't care as long as we get to something like net zero, and if that happens via this, great. It really is sort of, sadly, people in my generation of Gen X or older that are a little bit more fearful of the technology, but there's also a whole bunch of people who know the reality of this being the best way to get to net zero is probably the right way. But again, Chris Bowen, he says that small nuclear modular reactors, no, we shouldn't do them. Why? Because they require too many subsidies. I mean, his government is how many? $4 billion? And anyway, the opposition's position is now not to have taxpayer-funded ones, but just simply to remove the ban on nuclear power, which means private companies might be able to build it. And to give you an idea about how unusual discussions in favour of nuclear energy are, can I present you with three people who disagree on absolutely everything? One, hardcore MAGA Republican. One, establishment Democrat. One, Democratic Socialist with a little bit more red rising. This was the New York City mayoral debate. And all three, from all spectrums of the mainstream and a little further out when it comes to the most likely winner, Mandani, this is their response to, should we have more nuclear power in New York State? Answer, yes.
Any of you support new nuclear power plants to help bring down the rising cost of utilities in New York State? Just yes or no, Mr. Sliwa?
Upstate, they're already starting, yes.
Mr. Mondani?
I think it's something worth exploring.
Mr. Cuomo?
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Boom. I mean, in Australia, we don't even have a debate about whether to lift the restrictor plate off for then a private company to come in. And the government, ooh, scary, scary. Climate change, we must change everything because if we can fix 1% of the world's emissions, we'll be okay. This technology will help achieve that, but this technology not allowable, not okay. Why? Because, of course, there's many billions to be made in the technologies that have already been picked, right? And their preferred members in and around the federal parliament, state parliaments as well. All right, now, again, the issue of building renewables remains a significant issue. It remains one, not because there's a whole bunch of knuckle draggers in the regions, but a whole bunch of people who go, I don't want this stuff near me. I don't want the sellout of this stuff. It is too big, too intrusive. You know, the protests that happen all over the country. But, of course, not reasonable protests. These are not approved by the usual suspects on the left. Well, the Sydney Morning Herald is trying to put some further information, some evidence behind a previous story that they printed, this one back from the 29th of September. You may recall, I was somewhat surprised that now the people who oppose the forever changing of the landscapes by the building of not that forever technologies, mainly made in China, some by slave labour, were being threatened as potentially people that were going to cause violence. A submission to the Smart Energy Council, representing renewable companies, said disinformation in claims from opponents could escalate into violence against workers building the projects. Now remember, could is not will, not has, but could. Now just trying to get out there that everyone's standing in the way. Eventually these people are poisoning the locals and someone's going to cause some trouble. Multiple renewable companies report needing more security guards at community meetings. That's more security guards at community meetings, not more security guards where they're building this crap. Well, they back it up with another story, which is the proof to the claim made by the Climate Council. Because, of course, nothing and no overstatement of the Climate Council can ever be an overstatement. We're going to go back and backfill the claim, which is exactly what they did on the weekend. Same newspaper. Bullying, harassment, intimidation, shocking backlash for farming families who welcome renewables, you see? There's a good side and a bad side. The good side are the ones who want a wind farm on their property. The bad side are the neighbours who don't want them to build it. In a letter published by the Land newspaper, signed by 10 farmers across 3 states, so what's that, 3 point, okay. Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, including one of the people featured in the article, claim that heated rhetoric from politicians opposed to renewable energy is fueling anger and dividing communities. You see, again, it's not the projects. It's the good guys like Bowen or the bad guys like Canavan, you see? They claim that efforts are being made to bully and shame farming families who embrace renewables. Again, if anyone's responsible for that, what a disgrace.